John Somerville. I'm an officer here with the Chandler Police Department, and I'm the coordinator for the Return Me Safe program.
My name is Lisa Montes-Stockstad, and I have two sons that I'd like to sign up for the Return Me Safe program, and they both have autism.
Return Me Safe is a program to help police officers reunite members of our community with intellectual disabilities with those that care for them. This could include situations where someone is separated or for those who have a tendency to wander.
Well, I think the Return Me Safe program allows parents to have another way to help identification on their kiddos. I know Luke, my son, has wandered off from home, but we've always been able to find him within 10 minutes. But there was the time within 15 minutes, I'm like, who should I call? And I definitely thought of the Chandler Police, but they don't have any info on him at that time. But with this type of program, I feel like if I sign up and give them all the information that they're asking for, then they would know right away who Luke Stockstad is.
The Return Me Safe program really goes to work when someone who is registered is reported missing. Officers who are responding to assist are able to look up the record by a name search only.
What it helps to do is to give parents a little more peace of mind when that does happen, because I think as a parent you want to be responsible for your child and be able to know where your child is at all times. And this might take away a little bit of that stigma if you for that one instant turn your back and they're not there, and feel like you have somebody that's got your back.
Registration for the Return Me Safe program is maintained at the Chandler Police Department, and the information inside is only available to appropriate personnel. We can only register members of the community who live in Chandler, work here, or attend school, or frequently visit Chandler because of visiting family or medical needs.
Hello, I'm Councilman Terry Roe, and welcome to another Chandler in Focus. I have two guests here from the Chandler Police Department, Nancy Thiry and Cara Deanda. And they both work for the Chandler Police Department, and we're going to talk a little bit about some information that they want to share on dealing or working with people with developmental disabilities. How'd I do so far?
Wonderful.
Okay. Okay, and so let's start a little bit by sharing your backgrounds and your roles in the Chandler Police Department.
Okay.
So I'll let you go ahead, Nancy.
Okay. I've been with Chandler Police for about 12 years now. I started out as a crime scene technician, and I worked there for just under a couple years, and then I moved on to some other civilian positions. And currently I work in the financial crimes unit, investigating identity theft, credit card fraud, cases like that.
Okay. Okay. Well, how about you, Cara? Tell us.
I've been with the department for 20 years. I'm a police dispatch supervisor. I started out as a dispatcher when I was 23, and after 6 years, then I joined the supervisor team.
All right. So we've got some important folks with the Chandler Police Department, and we're going to talk about this. Nancy, how did you first become involved in this subject, working with people with developmental disabilities?
In mid to late 2013, our former chief of police recognized the need for additional training for our first responders regarding disability awareness. So she reached out to a lot of the parents who have loved ones with special needs in our department, asking if anyone was interested in creating training. So that's how I came on board. I worked in collaboration with a lot of the parents in our agencies, a lot of law enforcement officials across the nation, disability experts, parents, therapists, clinicians, and created a class. And I've been teaching it throughout the valley and throughout the state since then.
Well, very good. Well, let's talk about, we started talking about developmental disabilities, but tell us about, can you define it for our audience?
Yeah. So developmental disability is just a broad umbrella term, and they're usually chronic, usually lifelong conditions that severely impact 3 or more areas of a person's life. It could be behavioral, language, learning. Examples would include Down syndrome, autism, and fetal alcohol spectrum disorders.
So, so it's not one particular, individual that might have autism by itself. It's a number of different possibilities.
Correct.
Yeah, and so, and then what are some strategies for first responders when they go out and they communicate with these folks? What do you recommend?
So some of the communication tips include, they're pretty straightforward. So using direct, concrete phrases with simple 1- or 2-step instructions. Remembering to allow a person 10 to 15 seconds to respond to your request or comment. 10 to 15 seconds for those of us that talk fast is actually a really long time.
Yeah.
So not interpreting their delayed response for a willful non-compliance, but just remembering they may actually literally be trying to figure out what you're requesting. And then if verbal communication seems to be getting nowhere, consider written communication. So a lot of people with autism may be unable to respond to rapid fire questions, even answering their name, but give them pen and paper and they can write their name perfectly, things like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, Cara, some of this is even not just about our first responders. This goes right, I mean, some of this you can actually do a little bit in dispatch.
Absolutely.
You kind of, can you
Yeah,
expound on that a
absolutely.
little bit?
When we do take in phone calls from the members of the public, if they're reporting some type of an emergency that's involving someone with some disabilities, there are some key questions that we can ask that when we're responding to will help the response for the officers. So let's say we're talking about a child that might have gone missing. If we know the things, what we would consider a STEM or something that they are highly attracted to, we can find those questions out from the family members. The officers can maybe go to those areas of the neighborhood. Let's say they're drawn to water, which is very, very common. We'll want to hit any of the lakes or ponds or things that the neighborhood might even have. If they're drawn to the lights of the police car, if they're scared of the lights of the police car, we'll want to know that. We'll not want to use that equipment. Those are the things that when we're talking, we can ask that will help the response. So when they do get on scene, we have the best possible outcome.
Yeah. So for people that are watching, we need to let them know that it's important that they share everything they can with dispatch, so that information can go out to our police and fire personnel. Am I right about
Yes,
that?
absolutely.
And don't be afraid to say what needs to be said.
Absolutely.
And the more we have to work with,
Yes, the more information.
at the fire department, the police department, and dispatch, the better result.
Yes, for sure.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay. So one of the things that Cara just talked a little bit about was some folks that have developmental disabilities have a tendency to wander a little bit. And so can you discuss that a little bit?
Sure. So the estimate is about 50% of individuals with autism are prone to wandering. So that just basically means they are leaving a safe environment and being exposed to potentially dangerous situations.
Okay.
And the current statistic is, out of all the kids and adults who are dying subsequent to wandering, 91% are dying due to accidental drowning. So it's a very, very serious issue.
Okay, so like 91, so of all the people that we lose, and is this national, is that a national statistic?
It is a national statistic.
Okay, so it's, if we lose people, it's oftentimes just because of that, and potentially other traffic and all sorts of other possibilities that, so that's important. And then let's see, Chandler has spent a little bit, Cara, proactive a little bit in this, in dealing with this, and so.
Prior to having any formal plans, we noticed that when we were finding young children or adults with disabilities, there was an issue with getting them back where they belong safely. Or when we are taking a report of someone that's lost, if we had a photo that we could share with all the officers, those key things that would be important when trying to locate that person, it would just be phenomenal to have that right away, as well as if we're trying to get someone back safely. So they created a program called Return Me Safe. And Return Me Safe is for anyone that has any type of a developmental disability, and they live in Chandler, have doctors in Chandler, go to school in Chandler, any of their time spent in Chandler and in our neighboring areas, where if they were to wander and they came into Chandler, we would have information on them. So if they were wandering alone, we could search a specific area. If they aren't able to verbalize their name, where they belong, those kind of things, we can search that area in the database and match pictures up with people that we already have in the system with the person we have that we're trying to return home. And on the opposite side, if we're taking a report of someone missing, we can get that information that we already have in the database to all the computers in the cars. They already know what they're looking for. They have a picture. They've got all the information about the things that are important to get that specific person home safely.
So Return Me Safe database. And this is something that Chandler has developed,
Yes.
and with input from employees,
Yes.
and with experience that's improved, I
Yes.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some success with it, and that's a good thing. Are other communities in the valley and around the state doing a similar thing, or is this unique to Chandler a little bit?
I know there's vulnerable population databases nationwide in certain cities. I don't know of any in Arizona,
I don't either.
so we're pretty progressive in that area.
So, well, that's a good thing. It's good to be progressive, and and it's good for the safety of our citizens here in Chandler,
Absolutely.
and the people that they love, of course. And
Yeah.
so Return Me Safe database.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's and for people that want to know about that, of course, they'll be able to have information from Nancy later that that they can contact her. And so, okay, Cara, specialized training that the Chandler Police
Yes.
Department offers their 911 call center.
The National Center for Missing Children has training that that Chandler Police Department has taken. We're certified with this class, and it teaches us all of the right-away emergency type things that need to happen when a child goes missing. And we've got that certification. As we hire on new employees, they too get that certification as well. So all of our employees are trained in that. There are some specific things dealing with special need population that that we covered during that as well.
Okay, and that's your dispatch personnel.
Yes.
Okay, and
Yes.
and our officers receive training on this very important thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you, Nancy? I think you talked a little bit about providing that kind of training to our patrol and all our patrol members. Is that right?
It was actually to every employee, so from park
Okay.
rangers to records clerks to detectives to sergeants to officers. Mhm.
All right, so
Yeah.
that really gets the information out, and then
Exactly.
and we continue to offer information to new recruits and
Correct,
okay, let's see examples when dispatch patrol officers. This is for Nancy. Use this
Mm-hmm.
knowledge.
Yeah, so many wonderful examples, but one that comes to mind right away occurred in February of this year. So a frantic mother called 911. She and her family had been outside, and their little 6-year-old boy, who was on the spectrum, has autism and is nonverbal, was inside. And he found where they kept a key, was able to access that key and let himself out. So she called 911 that her child was missing, and within seconds after asking certain critical questions such as, do you have a pool? Have you checked the garage? Have you checked your vehicles to make sure your child's not there? The 911 operator was asking, what does he stim on? So he was trying to ascertain what areas of fascination does your child have outside in the community where we would know to go search immediately. So trying to prevent that child from accessing those high hazard, dangerous areas. And then as far as radio traffic, we had 6 or 7 officers dispatched immediately, and within seconds, the on-duty sergeant was directing the officers who were conducting the search, please focus on bodies of water in particular. So that's an awesome example where that knowledge is being translated into action, and we really weren't hearing things like that even 2.5, 3 years ago.
When you said STEM, and I think let's just further clarify that for
Sure.
people that are watching, if you could
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
So that's a common term that's used. STEM is short for stereotypy or self-stimulatory behavior. So a child or adult may engage in repetitive bodily movements when they're really excited by something. So the question is really asking, what is he fascinated by? What is he super excited by?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that can give maybe some hints as to where
Where to search.
to search.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if someone had a 6-year-old that walked away from home, that would be a concern all by itself. I mean, in
Truly.
that of itself would be
Yeah.
a concern. And so then to have a
Right.
have a developmentally disabled 6-year-old, that is even more serious. And so
Right.
and our outcome was good on that. And we've
Yeah.
had many great successes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And so, Nancy, what about the Pizza with Police event? How is that beneficial, you know, in our community for our officers and
we've done a couple Pizza with the Police events in the past couple years, and it's just a wonderful, relaxed, stress-free event that allows officers and people from the community to just interact and sort of demystifies the uniform, so people can understand beneath that sort of intimidating exterior is just a regular person who likes Star Wars and baseball and drawing and a lot of the things that they like. So really opens up the dialogue and helps create partnerships.
see an opportunity to see police officers as real people.
Exactly.
So I think there's isn't there a coffee with
coffee with a cop?
I think coffee with a cop is okay to say, because I guess that's the
That's
name
what
of
they
it.
call
And
it.
so,
Right,
well, that would be for me because I'm an early guy, early morning riser, and so I like to have the coffee in the morning. And so any chance is a chance for coffee. That's a good thing. But so that's good. And let's see, Nancy, what other resources are available? No, that's for Cara. I'm sorry.
Yeah, actually, Chandler Police Department is a part of the Arizona Child Abduction Response Team. So if there is an abduction in our city or any of the other cities in Arizona, we are a specialized team that's trained to go to those locations, and we assist the other agency. We don't take over the investigation. We are there just simply to offer the knowledge that we have, the training that we have, and assist them in locating a child. We had recently used it when we had a child go missing from a school. He was on the spectrum. He had autism, went missing from school. We activated the Arizona CART team, which gives us anywhere between 100 and 150 extra bodies. So it gets us help to do roadblocks, those kind of things that we need right away. And with something this magnitude, you don't necessarily have the amount of officers on duty at the time to get this started right away. Arizona CART can be started out to a location and have people there less than 30 minutes. And we also have something we call SENS. It's our community notification system. And it's also been known as reverse 911. So let's say we have a child that goes missing, whether they have special needs, it's an adult with special needs. We can use this system and pinpoint an area within our city where that person is missing from, send out an emergency message over the phone system to them, telling them what they're looking for. This person is missing, they're wearing these kind of clothing, and who to contact if they were to happen to see this person. And those were the things that returned that child safely that day.
Okay, so let's review just a little bit. For the people that watch, what is the best things that they can do? First of all, is use the database. And so, how do they go about doing that, Nancy?
They can log on to our website or just go to our website, chandlerpd.com, and there's a link to Return Me Safe. Okay. So they can download the registration form and fill it out, and then attach a color photograph of their loved one, and then drop it off or mail it to any of our stations. This
is not involved. It's easy to do.
It is.
Online. And if somebody can't get online, they could. You can go to the library, or even is the form available at any one of our police substations?
They could certainly come into our lobby, and one of our records clerks could print out the registration form for them.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So there's some ways to do that.
Yeah.
So we want them to use the database, and what are some other things?
I think reporting right away.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking about a missing child. The statistics are scary. Don't spend an hour looking yourself before you call us. We're an hour behind now. So call us right away. Get us the information right away. We would prefer to go to 100 calls that you find the child before we ever get there, than go to one that we were contacted too late. So we would prefer to be contacted immediately before they start doing too much searching. Let us come help. If we find the child right away, fantastic. Rather than being notified after the fact, and then we're trying to play catch up, and we're behind some of the things that would be critical to do right away.
Now, are there resources for people that, I mean, if you have children that are developmentally disabled, are there resources for those people to help them? I mean, it's a big job.
huge.
I had 2 children. I'm not sure I raised them. I think they just wore me out. But are there some resources for people that need help? And there's some things that they can do as far as online resources, or what do you recommend?
There's tons of advocacy organizations valley-wide, which are really, really helpful resources for parents and caregivers. But we talk about partnerships quite a bit, and it's also important for families and parents to understand that learning how to interact successfully with law enforcement officials is also a critical part of this whole topic. So understanding that uniformed officers are people that you can come to instead of run away from, understanding how to respond to questions depending on their functioning level, understanding that it's not a good idea to reach for or touch certain parts of the uniform, or really any part of the officer's body or uniform. So people can certainly contact me through the police department. I can put them in touch with some of that curriculum and some of those programs that are available if they're interested.
Good. And I think we'll put maybe that phone number up so that people could contact you.
Okay.
And so we only have a couple of minutes. So Cara, is there anything you'd like to add here at the end?
Goodness. Just reporting things right away is the biggest thing. Like I said, the sooner we know, the sooner we can get to work. And the piece she was just talking about with educating before you have contact with us is very important. So they aren't afraid. So those times when we do get out there right away to start trying to locate someone, they aren't hiding from us. We've done that work ahead of time where they feel comfortable, they feel safe to come to us. If that's done ahead of time and those lessons have been taught ahead of time, it makes our job a lot easier when it's a critical time.
Resulting in a positive income,
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Any last thoughts, Nancy?
I think we've covered
We've done okay.
quite a wide range. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy and Cara, and with the Chandler Police Department, you guys both do a great job, and then do this in addition to all of that. And we, the City of Chandler and the people of the community, we truly appreciate the work you do. Thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Councilman Terry Roe, and stay safe and stay involved.